Hello, mind readers, and welcome to another episode of Readers Aside. Yes, hello and welcome. Good evening. Today I will be reading from a very interesting book. I know I say that every time. It's only because I only read interesting books, really. So, God, this is a weird book too. Sorry, I just got caught looking at the front cover. Some weird drawings on it. Looks like a baby riding on a ferry, which is like a ferry flying through the air, And why is it a baby though? Maybe because little babies see stuff we don't. I guess I don't know. Right. So the book I'm reading is The Secret Commonwealth of Elves, Fauns, and Fairies. It was written by Robert Kirk, as in Captain Kirk. Robert Kirk, in the year 1691, I believe. So it's pretty old, but I've also done books out of the Bible, which is way older. So there's that. I'm not going to give a whole lot of backstory. I'm not gonna do my whole this time or last time yeah. What am I talking about here? Yeah, I don't want to. I just kind of want to read it, and then I'll give my readers asides. I don't really. It's not that I'm putting less effort into these. I just feel like, explaining everything that's happened in the book up till now, explaining like in a novel, explaining the plot or the reason, or in a book like this, explaining what the reason for it is, blah blah blah. That I feel like that's not really a part of the format, and it might take away. I think it kind of does. I think that kind of takes away from the format. And you know how I feel about the format. The format's very important. That's the whole show, really. So, basically, the basics are this. It's a nonfiction. It was written in the year 1691 by Robert Kirk. I think he was a pastor of some sort in Scotland. And that's a short little book. It's about 40 pages long. It was a long 40-some page introduction, which was quite helpful. And so basically, this book is about well, it's Robert Kirk writing about his different experiences and experiences related to him, about people who have encountered the wee folk, and also just in general about those who have the so-called second sight. All right, and that's mostly. I'm in the second part of the piece of writing here. The first part was about the as it said, the subterranean inhabitants. That would be the wee folk. I call them the wee folk. And I'm into the second part down, which is mostly, it's just called, basically it's about predictions made by seers, you know. Wherein he first attaches a letter written by one dude to another dude. More detailed than that you're not getting. And I've just actually read that letter, and now it's back to Robert Kirk making his thoughts and feelings known about it, I guess, if that's what we want to call it. So that's done. That's all I'm getting. Only 4 minutes in. I think that's got to be a fucking record, and I'm just gonna start reading. Boom. My lord, after a narrow inquisition, hath delivered many true and remarkable observations on this subject. Yet to encourage a further scrutiny, I crave leave to say that, 1. But a few women are endowed with this sight and respect of men, and their predictions not so certain. Readers aside, that's hilarious. and their predictions not so certain. Oh, it must be tough. Tough, I say. Tough to be a girl. And readers aside. 2, this sight is not criminal, since a man can come by it unawares and without his consent. But it is certain he see more fatal and fearful things than he do gladsome. Readers aside, so there are plenty of words here which they just aren't used anymore, like gladsome. So you're just going to have to contend with that. It's going to be hard for you. Not for me, though, because I know all these words because I read so much. So it's not even a problem for me. And readers aside. 3. The seers avouch that several who go to the she, or people at rest, and in respect of us in peace, before the natural period of their lives expire, do frequently appear to them. 4. A vehement desire to attain this art is very helpful to the inquirer, and the species of an absent friend, which appears to the seers as clearly as if he had seen his lively picture to present itself before him. It is no fantastic shadow of a sick apprehension, but a reality and a messenger coming for unknown reasons, not from the original similitude of itself, but from a more swift and pragmatic people, which recreate themselves in offering secret intelligence to men, though generally they are unacquainted with that kind of correspondence, as if they had lived in a different element from them. Though my collections were written... 5. Though my collection... What is this list again? Readers aside. Oh, he's just giving his observations on the letter. Right, the letter, right. 5. Though my collections were written long before I saw my Lord of Tarbet. Readers aside, he's referring to the letter there. That was the guy that wrote it. And readers aside. Though my collections were written long before I saw my Lord of Tarbet, yet I am glad that his descriptions in mine correspond so nearly. The maid my lord mentions, who saw her image still before her, suiteth with a co-walker named in my account, which, though some at first thought might conjecture to be a refraction of a cloud or mist, as in the illusory sun. Okay, whatever. The whole air and every drop of water being a mirror to return the species of things where our visive faculty sharp enough to apprehend them, or a natural reflection from the same reasons that an echo can be redoubled by art, yet it were more feasible to impute this second sight to a quality infused into the eye by unction, for witches have a sleepy ointment that, when applied, troubles their fancy, advancing it to have unusual figures and shapes represented to it, as if it were a fit of fanaticism, hypochondriac, melancholy, or possession of some insinuating spirit, raising the soul beyond its common strain. If the palpable instances in reality seen and innocently objected to, the senses did not disapprove it and make the matter a palpable verity and no deception. But the reader's aside, I'm going to have to back up here a moment. It was a long in brackets for like 5 sentences. So I have to go back up there and see what the fuck was happening. I think people would do that. Don't fucking put long, sort of like sidebars in the middle of a sentence, because then I have to go back, read the sentence again, or else I don't really know what the fuck's going on here. Like, you know what I mean? Or a natural reflection from the same reasons that an echo can be redoubled by art, yet it were more feasible to impute this second sight to a quality infused into the eye by an unction, if the palpable instances in reality seen and innocently objected to, the senses do not disprove it and make the matter a palpable verity and no deception. Whatever. Am I on reader's side? I don't even know. I'm not now. It's ended if it was ever began. Yet since this sight can be bestowed without ointment or dangerous compact, the qualification is not of so bad an original. Therefore, and 6, by my lord's good leave, I presume to say that this sight can be no quality of the air, nor of the eyes, because, here's the side. There's actually an illustration on the other side, on the other page here. It looks quite bizarre. Hard to make out what's happening. There's 3 people I see, possibly a 4th, much darker individual. There's a lady kind of on the grass, and then there's a man, rather robust individual. He's carrying another girl who appears to be almost scantily dressed, like she's in a nightgown. And then there appears almost to be some kind of like a strange shadowy creature at the person at the edge of the drawing, who appears to be clutching at the girl who is unconscious, being picked up and carried by the dude. He's grabbing at her knee and at her gown. What the other girl in the corner of the picture is there for, I don't really know. She appears to just be observing this, and it's hard to see if she's frightened too. And it looks like it might be windy too. I don't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, there's weird. There's weird shit. I'm just noticing all the eyeballs in the background too. Yeah, there's spooks and shit, yo. I think it's one of those spooks is what's grabbing her too. They're trying to take her away. This guy's trying to save her. Oh, crazy. It looks like his hat fell off too. Interesting. Alright, I'll go back to reading. And reader's aside. 6. By my lord's good leave, I presume to say that this sight can be no quality of the air, nor of the eyes, because 1. Such live in the same air and see all other things as far off and as clearly, yet have not the second sight. 2. A seer can give another person this sight transiently by putting his hand and foot in the posture he requires of them. 3. Reader's side, that's weird. And reader's side. 3. The unsullied eyes of infants can naturally perceive no new, unaccustomed objects, but what appear to other men, unless exalted and clarified some way, as Balaam's ass for a time. Though in a witch's eye the beholder cannot see his own image reflected, as in the eyes of other people. So that defect of objects, as well as diversities of the subject, may appear differently on several tempers and ages. Okay. 4. I realize it is kind of hard to kind of follow some of this. Some of the times it's just the way it's written, with the sentence, like structure. Oh, and readers aside, not making excuses for myself. And readers aside. 4. So, and readers aside, and yes, we are in a list contained within another list, in case that was confusing anyone. 4. Readers aside. 4. Though so also some are of so venomous a constitution, by being eradicated in envy and malice, that they pierce and kill like a cockatrice, whatever creature they first set their eye on in the morning. What? So was it with Walter Graham, sometime living in the parish wherein now I am, who killed his own cow after commending its fatness, and shot a hare with his eyes, having praised its swiftness. What? Such was the infection of an evil eye. Albeit this was unusual, yet he saw no object but what was obvious to other men, as well as to himself. 5. if being transported to live in another country did obscure the second sight, neither the parson nor the maid needed be much troubled for her reflex self. A little peregrination and going from her wonted home would have salved her fear. Wherefore, 7. Now we're back into like the main original list here. It was a short list of 5 in number 6. Why write it like that? I don't know. Whatever. What am I to say? Who am I to say? Henry aside. 7. Since the things seen by the seers are real entities, we just said like why not just put like A, B, C? You know what I mean? Instead of just doing like another like he used in the text here. He used Roman numerals where it's just like the regular numerals, regular non-Roman numerals. In like the main list he's got going here. Like I would have used A, B. That would have been better. Whatever. It doesn't really matter so much when you're the one reading, I suppose. But if like you're doing readers aside, like I'm doing right now, like I have to explain this shit. Like come on, man. Anyways, 7. I think this list is pretty much almost done here. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know what? I think this list is the entirety of this section, actually. This final section of the book. So, maybe let's stop being bothered by that, and we'll just read on. How about that? End reads aside. 7. Since the things seen by the seers are real entities, their presages and predictions found true, but a few endowed with this sight, and those not of bad lives are addicted to malfeasance. The true solution of the phenomenon seems rather to be the courteous endeavors of our fellow creatures in the invisible world to convince us, in opposition to Sadducees, Socinians, and atheists, to convince us of a deity of spirits, of a possible and harmless method of correspondence betwixt men and them even in this life, of their operation for our caution and warning, of the orders and degrees of angels, whereof one order with bodies of air condensed and curiously shaped may be next to man, superior to him in understanding, yet unconfirmed, and of their region in habitation and influences on man, greater than that of stars on inanimate bodies, a knowledge, belike, reserved for these last atheistic ages, wherein the profanity of men's lives hath debauched and blinded their understanding as to Moses, Jesus, and the prophets, unless they get convictions from things formerly known, as from the regions of the dead. Nor doth the ceasing of the visions upon the seer's transmigration into foreign kingdoms make his lordship's conjecture of the quality of the air and I a whit more probable, but on the contrary it confirms greatly my account of an invisible people, guarding over and careful of men, who have their different offices and abilities in distinct countries, as appears in Daniel 10:13, etc. Israel's, Grecia's, and Persia's assistant princes, whereof whoso prevaileth, give the dominion and ascendant to his pupils and vassals over the opposite armies and kingdom, having their topical spirits or powers assisting in governing them. The Scottish seer banished to America, being a stranger there as well to the invisible as to the visible inhabitants, and wanting the familiarity of his former correspondence, he could not have the favour and warnings by the several visions and predictions which were wont to be granted him by these acquaintances and favourites in his own country. For if what he wont to see were realities, as I have made appear, 'twere too great an honour for Scotland to have such seldom seen watchers and predominant powers over it alone, acting in it so expressly, and all other nations wholly destitute of the like, though without all peradventure all other people wanted the right key of their cabinet, and the exact method of corresponding with them, except the sagacious, oh my God, fuck it, active Scots, as many sagacious, there, as many of whom have retained it of a long time, and by surprises and raptures, do often foretell what in kindness is really represented to them at several occasions, to which purpose the learned lynx-eyed Mr. Baxter on Revelation 12:7, what? To which purpose the learned lynx-eyed Mr. Baxter on Revelation 12:7, writing of the fight betwixt Michael and the dragon, gives a very pertinent note, viz., that he knows not but ere any great action, especially tragical, is done on earth, that first the battle and victory is acted and achieved in the air betwixt the good and evil spirits. Thus he. It seems these were the men's guardians, and the like of battles are oft times perceived aloft in the night time, the event of which might easily be represented by some one of the number to a correspondent on earth. It's frequently the report of great actions have been more swiftly carried to other countries than all the art of us mortals could possibly dispatch it. Oh, here's a side. I need to grab a little snack here. I think I'm just gonna have like a Rice Krispie square here. I can keep reading while it's happening. Well, I mean, not a problem. Alright. I'm gonna turn the fan on too. It's getting fucking hot in here. St. Augustine on Mark 9:4. God damn it. Oh, and readers aside. Yeah. St. Augustine on Mark 9:4. Give us no small intimation of this truth, averring that Elias appeared with Jesus on the mount in his proper body, but Moses in an aerial body, assumed like the angels who appeared, and had ability to eat with Abraham, though no necessity on the account of their bodies, as likewise the late doctrine of the pre-existence of souls living in two aerial vehicles gives a singular hint of the possibility of the thing, if not a direct proof of the whole assertion, which yet, moreover, may be eliminated by diverse other instances of the like nature, and as wonderful, besides what is above said, as 8. The invisible whites. Readers aside, so I'm not, like, it's spelled, this word whites. I think it means, like, it's like little dudes, another word for the little dudes, the wee folk. It's just WIGHTS. Whites. Like, that has to be how it's pronounced. Alright. And readers aside, the invisible whites whose haunt houses seem rather to be some of our subterranean inhabitants, which appear often to men of the second sight. The evil spirits or devils. Alright. Reader's side, there's a lot of bracket work in here. I'm calling it bracket work. There's a lot of sentences where there's bracket work, and it just annoys the hell out of me because it breaks up the flow of the sentence. So I'm just going to repeat that last sentence without the bracket work. The invisible whites which haunt houses seem rather to be, and reader's aside. The invisible whites which haunt houses seem rather to be some of our subterranean inhabitants than the evil spirits or devils. Readers aside, see how much better that is? And readers aside, because though they throw great stones, pieces of earth, and wood at the inhabitants, they hurt them not at all, as if they acted not maliciously like devils, but in sport like buffoons and drolls. All ages have reported some obscure testimonies of it, as Pythagoras, his doctrine of transmigration. Socrates' daemon, they gave him warning of future dangers. Plato's classing them into various vehiculated species of spirits. Dionysus, I never know how to say this. Areopagitica. Areopagitica. Dionysus. Oh wait. Oh, is that to my Areopagitica? Oh, okay, I've heard it before. Read aside. I've heard it before. How it's pronounced. I can't come up with it right now. Europagite? Europagite? Or something like that? It's something like that. It's something like that. Okay, that was probably pretty close. I'm just moving forward. Henry's aside, I think. Marshalling my 9 orders of spirits. Damn it. Europagite? Dionysus? Something. Dionysus somethings. Marshalling 9 orders of spirits. Superior and subordinate. Reader's side, fuck Dionysus. Henry's side. Reader's side. Because of his name, right? You know what I mean? Fucking stupid name. Europagite, or fucking... Damn it, fuck, shut. Move on! Alright. Fuck off. Don't yell at me. Henry's side. The poets, I need a smoke. Reader's side. Smoke. Smoke right. We're going out for a smoke. Henry's aside here. Marshalling 9 orders of spirits, superior and subordinate. The poets, they're borrowing of the philosophers and adding their own fancies of fountain, river, and sea nymphs, wood, hill, and mountain inhabitants, and that every place and thing in cities and countries had special, invisible, regular gods and governors. Cardano speaks of his father, his seeing the species of his friend in a moonshine night riding fiercely by his window on a white horse, the very night his friend died in a vast distance from him, by which he understood that some alteration would suddenly ensue. Cornelius Agrippa and the learned Dr. Moore have several passages tending that way. The noctambulus themselves would appear to have some foreign joking spirits possessing and supporting them when they walk on deep waters and tops of houses without danger when asleep and in the dark. Huh? For it was no way probable that mere apprehension and strong imagination, setting the animal spirits awork to move the body, could preserve it from sinking in the deep or falling down headlong. Almost dropping shit here. When asleep any more than when awake, the body then being as ponderous as before, it is hard to attribute it to a spirit flatly evil and evil to man, because the noctambulo, which is, I think it means like people sleepwalking, the noctambulo returns to his own place safe, yep. And the most furious tribe of the demons are not permitted by Providence to attack men so frequently either by night or by day. For in our highlands, as there may be many fair ladies of this aerial order, which do often tryst with lascivious young men in the quality of a succubi, or lightsome paramours and strumpets, called the Anianshi, or familiar spirits in Deuteronomy 18:11, or familiar spirits. Oh my God, it did it to me again. Quality of succubi or lightsome paramours and strumpets, so do many of our Highlanders, as if a straggling by the nightmare. What? So do many of our Highlanders, as if a straggling by the nightmare. I would just say that's one word, a straggling. It's like a, and then strangling. A strangling. So do many, Andrews aside, so do many of our Highlanders, as if a strangling by the nightmare, pressed with a fearful dream, or rather possessed by one of our aerial neighbours, rise up fierce in the night, and apprehending the nearest weapons, do push and thrust at all persons in the room. With them. Some people just freak out, sometimes wounding their own comrades to death. Oh no! And the like whereof fell sadly out within a few miles of me, at the writing hereof. Really? I add but one instance more of a very young maid who lived near to my last residence, that in one night learned a large piece of poesy by the frequent repetition. Oop. Sorry. What happened? What? Oh, I'm looking at myself. Oh my God. That was incredibly dumb. 9. Having demonstrated and made evident to sense this extraordinary vision of our tramontane seers, and what is seen by them, by what is said above, having many seen this same spectres and apparitions at once, having their visive faculties entire, for non est disputantum de gusto. Okay, it now remains to show that it is not unsuitable to reason, nor the holy script, nor the holy nor the holy scriptures. Fuck, I keep getting lost here. First, that it is not repugnant to reason doth appear from this, that it is no less strange for immortal sparks and souls to come and be immersed into gross terrestrial elementary bodies, and be so propagated, so nourished, so fed, so clothed as they are, and breathe in such an air and a world prepared for them, than for Hollanders or hollow cavern inhabitants to live and traffic among us in another state of being without our knowledge. For Raymond de Subind, in his third book, chapter 12, argues quaintly that all sorts of living creatures have a happy, rational polity of their own, with a great contentment, which government and mutual converse of theirs, they all pride and plume themselves, because it is as unknown to man as man is to them. Much more, that the Son of the highest spirit should assume a body like ours, convinces all the world that no other thing that is possible needs be much wondered at. The Manucodiata, or bird of paradise, living in the highest region of the air, common birds in the second region, flies and insects in the lowest, men and beasts on the earth's surface, worms, otters, badgers in waters, like white owls inhabited at the center, and heaven in the circumference. Can we then think the middle cavities of the earth empty? I have seen in Weems, a place in the county of Fife in Scotland, diverse caves cut out as vast temples underground. The like is the county of England. Oh. In Malta, a cave wherein stones of a curious cut are thrown in great numbers every day. So I have had barbed arrowheads of yellow flint that could not be cut so small and neat, of so brittle a substance, by all the art of man. I would seem therefore that, pardon me, it would seem therefore that a substance, or pardon me, it would, my God, I gotta stop walking here. I can't walk and talk apparently, or read, something like that. Fuck it. The readers aside, the Cliff Goes Live studio is a few steps from here. I'm gonna make it though. And readers aside. Where was I? Fuck, maybe I can't. I have to stop again. Readers aside. I'm just gonna give me a second here. I was swooning. And readers aside. Oh God. It would seem, therefore, that these mentioned works were done by certain spirits of pure organs, not by devils, whose continual torments could not allow them so much leisure. Besides these, I have found 5 curiosities in Scotland, not much observed to be elsewhere. One, this guy loves the lists. One, the brownies. The brownies. I know about the brownies. Well, I've actually read this book before. One, the brownies, who in some families are drudges, clean the houses and dishes after all go to bed, taking with him his portion of food and removing before daybreak. 2, the mason word, which, through some mystery of it, I will not conceal a little of what I know. It is like a rabbinical tradition, rabbinical tradition in way of comment on Jachin and Boaz, the 2 pillars erected in Solomon's temple, 1 Kings 7:21, and with an addition of some secret sign delivered from hand to hand, by which they know and become familiar one with another. 3, this second sight, so largely treated of before. 4, number 4, charms in curing by them very many diseases, sometimes by transferring the sickness to another. 5, a being proof of lead, iron, and silver, or a spell, making men invulnerable. Diverse of our Scottish commanders and soldiers have been seen with blue marks only, after they were shot with leaden balls, which seems to be an Italian trick, for they seem to be a people too curious and magically inclined. Finally, Irishmen, or Northern Scottish, and our Atholl and our Atholl men, whatever, fuck, these fucking, oh my God. Finally, Irishmen, or Northern Scottish, and our Atholl men, are so much addicted to and delighted with harps and music as if, like King Saul, they were possessed with a foreign spirit, only with this difference, that music did put Saul's playfellow asleep, but roused and awakened our men, vanquishing their own spirits at pleasure, as if they were impotent of its powers and unable to command it. For we have seen some poor beggars of them, chattering their teeth for cold, that how soon they saw the fire and heard the harp, leapt through the house like goats and satyrs. As there are parallel stories in all countries and ages reported of these our obscure people, which are no dotages, so is it more of necessity to us fully to know their beings and manner of life than to understand distinctly the polity of the 9 orders of angels, or with what oil the lamp of the sun is maintained so long and regularly, or why the moon is called a great luminary in Scripture, while it only appears to be so, or if the moon be truly inhabited, because telescopes discover seas and mountains in it, as well as flaming furnaces in the sun, or why the discovery of America was looked on as a fairy tale, and reporters hooted at as inventors of ridiculous utopias, where the first probable asserters punished as inventors of new gods and worlds, or why in England the king cures the struma by stroking, and the and the seventh son in Scotland, whether his temperate complexion conveys a balsam and sucks out the corrupting principles by a frequent warm, sanative contact, or whether the parents of the seventh child put forth a more eminent virtue to his production than to all the rest, as being the certain meridian and height to which their vigor ascends, from that forth have a gradual declining into a feebleness of the body and its production, and then, oh my God, and then one, were we already in the middle of a list here? They were listing in another list and another list? Or I thought we were. Are we back at one? Alright. And then one, why is not the seventh son infected himself by that contagion when he extracts from another? 2. How can continual stroking with a cold hand have so strong a natural operation as to exhale all the infectious worming, corroding vapors? 3. Why may not a seventh daughter have the same virtue, so that it appears, albeit a happy natural constitution concur, yet something is in it above nature, therefore every age hath left some secret for its discovery. Who knows but this intercourse betwixt the two kinds of rational inhabitants of the same earth may be not only believed shortly, but as freely entertained, and as well known as the art of navigation, printing, gunning, riding on saddles with stirrups, and the discoveries of microscopes, which were sometimes as great a wonder, and as hard to be believed. Pardon me. 10. Oh man, you know what? I think that's good for the day. I hope the audience has enjoyed our little episode for the day, and I hope they learned some lessons, and that they just start minding their own business and stop fucking around and fucking off and fucking with shit. Stop fucking with shit. Yeah, and crap. What is the thing I say? Mind your own business. That's right. Yeah, well, same thing. Stop fucking with shit. Mind your own business. Good day to you, sir. Bye.
And they even went to the moon. And there was a time in this country, a long time ago, when reading wasn't just for fags.